Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And wow, that's all I can say right there is wow. We got an absolutely fantastic show coming your way today. Well, we got this guest, been on several times, and every time we bring her on the show, she's just bring excitement, education, understanding, and focus. Yeah, I'm not even going to give it away right now because I want to lock the television, radio, podcast, and all the live streaming platforms up at the same time. So, Todd, let's do it.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the James Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and to overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And I am so excited about today's show. We got a returning guest, and every time she comes on the show, she brings new things, bring new excitement, and bring new ideas, and also educate our viewers and listeners. So I'm excited about today's show, and whichever platform that you're watching this on, was E360 Television, Transfer TV, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Welcome to the show. And if you want to be part of the show, all you got to do it. Just go to the comments and ask any question that you might have, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170, FM 96.1, AM 1170, KCBQ. And my main man, Toddy, will bring you in and you can get your question across. I cannot even start a show without bringing executive producer and co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I love talking to our guests. We were talking, before the show got live, and she wears a lot of hats. She's doing some great things, and she's also educating. I mean, wow, a series, a beauty product line, a gallery, and I think maybe she's may want to do a cookbook next. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. But she's really amazing. I mean, she's doing a lot of things. So we're just really happy to have her back on the show.
I am so happy to have her back. And that's why I asked you. I said, reach out to Ruth-Ann to make sure. Oh, I gave it away then.
You did that on purpose.
I said, reach out to Ruth-Ann and let's get her back on the show. First of all, we want to see her smile, her excitement, her enthusiasm. And just like you said, she always wear a different hat. And she wear a lot of those, and she wear them well. So, Michelle, I'm excited about the show. Can you please introduce the title, the purpose, and introduce this fantastic guest?
Oh, most definitely. So the title of today's show is Ruth-Ann Thorn. This is Indian country. And we're having a sit-down conversation with pioneer businesswoman, co-founder, CEO, producer, and host, Ruth-Ann Thorn. And she's going to be talking about filming the series, This is Indian Country. And audience, it's just listen to the backstory, how this all came to be. It's really fascinating. She's going to talk about her EC Galleries, art galleries, and also N8iV Beauty. And so Ruth-Ann Thorn, again, she's a pioneer businesswoman. You will not find another Native American entrepreneur like her. Ruth-Ann is a true Native tribal member of the Rincon Band of, and forgive me, Ruth-Ann, I'm going to mispronounce this. I'm going to let you pronounce it. So she brings a voice to Native American culture and in turn the San Diego business community, and brings a voice to Native American tribes across the United States. She's a certified WMBE. 100 million Native American lived on this continent at one point in history. She is trying to carry on that message through all her work endeavors to the Native American culture is not forgotten and continues to be honored and celebrated. So please welcome back to the show. And she is going to tell us what tribe she's from, Miss Ruth-Ann Thorn.
Wow, that was a real entrance. I don't know if I can meet up to all of that.
You definitely can. And can you please tell the audience, and I'm sorry I couldn't pronounce it, I want to just do it justice, what is the Native tribal member that you're a part of?
Well, I'm part of the Rincon Band of Luiseño Indians, but I'm going to throw a little curveball to you, because even though we're known as Luiseño, this is part of, kind of dovetails into This is Indian Country. A lot of people don't know that when the Spaniards came to California and they colonized the tribes and took over, they also took away our language and our original names. And so our tribe, which there were millions of us at one time, right here in San Diego County, we are known as the people of the West. So our actual name is Peokuwichum people of the West. We were named and given as a gift to the King of France during the colonization. When Spain came over, they decided when they enslaved us that they would give us as a gift to the King of France. Therefore, we became the name Luiseño after King Louis. And I don't know which one, but one of them. So a lot of the tribes now are going back to their original actual name. San Manuel tribe up in LA, they've just recently changed the name of their casino and resort from San Manuel to Yamava, which is an original name that they also are learning about. So I think part of our discovery as Native people is not just to educate the general public, but also to educate ourselves, because we also have lost a lot of our original culture and our language, and really trying to understand who we are and where we come from.
You know, what I want to do is play a short videos to give our viewers and our listeners a little bit better understanding of what you're talking about and who you are. Here we go.
This is the Dr. Malika Clary Show. Dr. Malika.
Oh, let me get the right one. But we got to play this. We got to do this. You know, so you got so many things going on, Ruth, about your product lines, about your films, about the things that you're doing. Can you talk a little bit about your latest project? But here that video.
100 million Native Indigenous people lived on this Northern American continent that we call Turtle Island. Now we are the smallest minority group in the United States. And we're still here. Join me as we travel to meet the tribes across Native America. I am Ruth-Ann Thorn, and this is Indian Country.
I love that trailer. Yeah, I love that trailer. You know, so you know, so Ruth-Ann, you're doing so many. It seemed like you just took the torch and you ran with it for all of the tribes that's in that the area. I'm talking about Western and across the United States. Who was your role models that you look up to as a kid, as a grown-up, and also inspired you to step up in leadership and let the world know how things truly were and how we have to get back on the right track? Can you talk about that a little bit?
I can, and it's an interesting thought because I grew up, you know, I had kind of a rough upbringing in the sense that, you know, I was out on my own by the time I was 14 years old. And so when you talk about role models, I think that sometimes there are so many of them, but maybe they're not necessarily famous people. I mean, I think my grandmother was a great role model for me, and you know, my parents in a lot of ways, and my, you know, other extended family members. I think as a child, when things are kind of chaotic when you're growing up and there's not necessarily a lot of stability and there's not a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not a lot of regular patterns within your lifestyle. My parents were young when they had me, and I think a lot of people can relate. Like some families, there's a pattern within their family, meaning that the parents go to work, they come home, dinner's served at a certain time. There's a regular routine within that life. And then some of us have come from things that have been a little bit more chaotic. And I feel like growing up, I had a lot of chaos. And then that led me to being out on my own at a very young life. So I think when you are going through living that type of a life from a young person, you're really trying to grasp on to whoever it is that is in your immediate sphere of influence. And that may just be people you meet. It could be teachers. It could be your grandparents. And I think that's why it's so important that regular people really think about themselves as role models. Because we are influencers to some people, especially younger people. Maybe we don't feel that we're making a huge global impact, but those small day-to-day impacts, I think, are really huge. I mean, I remember a couple of teachers.
Ruth-Ann, hold that though.
Okay.
We got to take a station break.
Okay.
Take a station. But I tell you, whichever platform that you're watching this on, if you want to be part of the conversation, all you do is go to that platform, ask any question that you might have, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. Remember, it's your life. And we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And just like I mentioned to you, Ruth-Ann Thorn is one of my favorites. And I love having her on because she brings so much to the table. And Michelle know I'm a historian type of guy. So I want to know and learn everything about everybody, about all people, Indigenous people, Black people, white people, all type of people, because I believe that right now the world is turned upside down, and especially from a political perspective, they only teach certain things, and I mean a lot of people don't exist or didn't exist for a certain amount of time. So we have to educate our generations to come on this is how it was, this is how it is, and it's up to you to continue to carry on the traditions of what our forefathers and mothers and everybody intended it to be. So that's why I love having you on, Ruth-Ann, because you bring so much to the table. You know, Ruth-Ann, now I think you have handedly elevated the profile of the tribes, not only in San Diego, but all across the region. And you do it in so many ways, through your documentaries, or through arts, through just you going out, just educating the world. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think, my main background is being in the art world. So I've been, I've owned and operated galleries for many years. And art is one of those platforms that can tell stories in a way that maybe are a little bit more difficult for people to understand if they're reading a book. Film is another one of those venues. So I've always been really passionate about being a storyteller. I think that comes from my background, and, Native people, we didn't have a written language, so we told stories. And I think the arts, they are able to tell people stories in a way that are a little softer, I think. They're not as harsh. Sometimes when it gets to politics, people tend to freeze up because they don't maybe agree. And I think stories are a beautiful way of doing that. So with my latest venture called This is Indian Country, it's really little vignettes, stories. It's a travel show, but it's stories about actual people told from their own voices. So they're not actors. These are real Native Americans. And I'll go into a city or onto a reservation, and I meet with people that are overcoming their own adversities and creating, it could be art, music, food. I have tattoo artists, comedians, very famous actors, but it doesn't really matter what they're producing or creating. What's more important is their story of how they actually got there. And I think that's the inspiration for me, because I learn a lot from other people when I hear their stories of overcoming adversity and then giving back to the world at large.
Wow. Before we go off into This is the Indian Country, can you please tell our viewers and our listeners the backstory behind that? Because I just love hearing you tell it.
It started with, coming from the art world, it started from just an idea that a lot of the artists that I had seen that had made an impact on the world, there were really very little video content about them. And I thought that's a shame, because when their time on this planet is over, we are going to rely on other people telling their story. So that led me to the idea of taking a small film crew into some of the local artists here in San Diego who had made huge impacts, like James Hubble from the Hubble House, or going down into Barrio Logan and interviewing some of the first graffiti artists in Chicano Park. So that's how it started. And then from there, I ended up going to New Orleans, Santa Fe, to other cities, LA. And this was before COVID, and it really, I didn't, I didn't think of myself necessarily as a filmmaker, but I just felt like, well, somebody should do this, and nobody else was. And that's kind of really the way that I approach life is I'm not really fearful of trying things. If I feel like something needs to be done and nobody else is doing it, I'm willing to do it. And maybe it's not going to be that great to begin with, and that's okay. But so that ended up getting picked up by a network called First Nations Experience, FNX, and they started showing it all over the United States. And that was the catalyst to doing This is Indian Country, because I had a lot of people come to me and ask, would you do more on Native Americans? And so I thought, you know what? One of my favorite travel shows is Anthony Bourdain. And I had an idea, and I thought, I wonder if I could become the Anthony Bourdain of Indian. And I could travel and meet interesting people and hear their stories. And so that's exactly what I did. And so it took us about a year of filming and another maybe 6-9 months of editing, and we are at the finish line. And so it got picked up by a big distributor out of Canada, ASD, and they're global, and they've already sold the show to 3 different countries. It'll be showing on FNX and on PBS here in our country. So I think if you just have an idea about what you want to do and you're willing to put forth the effort and the money, then you could do some really great things. And, I feel like it's been a major team effort with, the community in Indian country supporting it.
This is so inspiring. You are so inspiring because a lot of people do not understand that you take an idea, think about it, but you got to act on it. You have to act on it, put thought in it, and come up with a plan on how you're going to do these things. And I believe that every time we do something, it doesn't always happen the way that we want it to happen. But we have to have this thing called stickability. And we have to have this thing called conviction. I'm going to get it right, regardless of what the situation or circumstance. Ruth-Ann, can you tell our viewers and listeners, I know it was challenges in creating this, so can you tell our viewers and listeners the process in developing this, the challenges that you had, the stickability that you maintain to see it to the finish line?
It has been a journey, a real good one too. And I think, I'll give you the nuts and bolts. So the first part of when you're producing something is you have to bring together a team. And in our case, when you're on a shoestring budget, you've got to find people that are just as passionate about the project as you are. And that might take a minute. So fortunately, I found 2 people on camera, an incredible sound person, and they were willing to work on a shoestring with me because they believed in what we were bringing to the world. We would go, we'd find an Airbnb, and we would eat out 1 meal a day. We'd go shopping in the morning. Fortunately, our sound man was also a former short order cook or chef, and he would make us breakfast every single day, and he was so great, loved doing it. So we would cut costs. We bring snacks in the van. We would try to get as many interviews in one day because they're obviously you pay them a certain amount per day. They were willing sometimes to work 12-hour days. And we just worked really hard. But I think what made it such a cohesive team is that we were so excited after every single interview. We would meet a Native American and hear their story. And it was kind of an ongoing joke because when we get done with an interview, we would look at each other, we'd get back into the van, and we would look at each other and we'd say, how do we beat that interview? That was like the best interview ever. How can somebody else even be better than that? So that was the enthusiasm that I really feel like allowed this whole thing to move forward. And then their willingness to, get less pay. So we just had a vision in mind. But I will tell you that I think the secret to success, at least for me, has been this one thing. A lot of people have ideas, but they're afraid to create something that people might laugh at, or the content may not be that great. So the fear of ridicule, I think, by the public or your peers, that will be the number one thing that holds people back. And if you can get over yourself, and you can get over even spending money that maybe you don't see an instantaneous return from, then you just keep moving forward with whatever it is, despite the ridicule, despite the fact you look at something and go, gosh, I worked so hard at it, but it's not really as good as I'd like it to be. Then eventually you're going to get better and better and better at it, because everybody has to have the willingness to suck at whatever you do to begin with. And then you will suck less. And then at some point you'll get okay. Then you're going to get good. Then you're going to get better. And then you're going to go, whoa, I can't even believe I've done this.
Well, we call that the elevation process because elevation rate, but we're going to come back and we're going to pick it up. This is so extraordinary. So whichever platform that you're watching us on, all you do is go put comments, ask any question that you might have. I promise you will get your answer. Yes, your life. And we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
We live in a world today that people don't even care about how people see them. Don't realize that we can affect an entire generation and build our character. But you gotta do it with these 4 C's. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. It's the 4 C's. It's the 4 C's. In life you are gonna grow, but there's things in this world that you gotta know. To be the best that you can be, you wanna grow real big into a strong tree. To be who you were created to be, the one who's gonna leave a legacy is you. But you gotta have these 4 C's. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. It's the 4 C's. It's the 4 C's.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and you know, I'm still stuck on the last segment of where Ruth-Ann was talking about. Sometimes you just have to go out and do things. Sometimes you can get fired. You're not going to be very good at that in the beginning, but you have to have that thing called stickability. You have to have, and if you truly believe in your heart that you are supposed to do these things, you got to find a way, and you get better. You're going to get knocked down, but you got to get back up. And part of the reasons that I said this is just like I just played the commercial 4Cs: create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Because once you get that confidence from the created idea that you had, you collaborate with others, create, collaborate, then you commit to doing it.
That's it.
4Cs. And success will come from that. And that creates what we call the big C. Oh. The big C is called character. Everything is about character. And Ruth-Ann, the things that you're doing and all the different projects that you're working on, I'm a big fan. A big fan. So Ruth-Ann, I want you to pick it back up when you was talking about, sometimes you're not going to be good in the beginning, but you keep going. Most people are afraid of getting laughed at, or they all gonna laugh at me. They are, and so that means the ideas that they have, they never bring them to fruition. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think it's the number one downfall. If you have something that you really feel passionate about in your heart, then you have to get out of your own way. And part of that is just knowing that it's not going to be easy. I mean, I always say if it were easy, everybody would do it. And so I think no matter whether I was building my very first gallery and I put all my money into it, which wasn't a lot, and I had enough money left for one month's rent, which most business people would tell you is not a very good strategy, but it was what I could do at the time. And I remember sitting at the desk, and I had this very not popular location. So I was sitting there, nobody was coming in, and I was crying, just crying my eyes out, asking the creator why I would be led to do this. But now fast forward, 20 something years, the gallery has been a really great success, but it doesn't happen overnight. And I think that's the key, is that anytime you're going to go out and do something, you have to be able to have the tenacity to hang in there and know that at the beginning, it's not going to be super easy, or really maybe the quality of what you're creating or the money you're making, it's not going to come in right away. There's going to be a learning curve, but if you can hang in there, then you start to see things getting better. And sometimes you'll take a path, you'll try something, and then it opens up a door for something else that you weren't even expecting. But the whole process, I think, of life, and this is something that I think a lot of the Native tribes teach, because I really study a lot about, Native culture and Native philosophy. Even in my own tribe, we have our own ideas. It's the idea that you are here to serve a greater good that goes beyond you. So I always think about it like we are each like trees, and we grow. And the whole idea of our growth is so that everybody can benefit from the fruit that we create. And that can be in business. You could be doing it as a teacher. You could be doing it as a performer, a musician. The whole idea is that we are here not just for ourselves, but whatever we're creating should have the idea that it outreaches even our lifetimes. And so that's my inspiration with this is Indian country. It acts in a lot of different ways. One is it's giving a platform to some people who would never be on film. They just never would. So it's a historical document of a group of people that are the survivors of the greatest genocide the world has seen in the last 200 years. 100 million of us, now we are the smallest minority group on our own land. So the people I'm interviewing are the remnant, kind of like me, of our ancestors who were pretty much wiped out with genocide. And there's only a few of us left, really. 1.8% of the population is Native American, and we're not full bloods, most of us. So this acts as a historical document. It also gives these different people platforms. A lot of the people I'm interviewing, they're running businesses. They're aspiring to various things. So people could see them, and then hopefully maybe they'll go and want to go to their business, or they'll look them up on the internet. And then it also gives people an opportunity to see these stereotypes removed of what people think we are as Native people. A lot of people, when I ask them, about if they know about Native Americans, the first thing out of their mouth is this: oh, are they still here? Because a lot of people, and it's not anybody's fault. It's because the view that we have of Native Americans has been created in the old Hollywood Westerns. When you're seeing cowboys and Indians, and then fast forward to the 60s, a lot of the films, because media, film is very powerful, showed Native Americans as drunkards, kind of laying around the reservation. Kind of the latest commentary, which is not true, is that all Native Americans don't do anything. They just get money from casinos, or they get free money from the government. None of that is true. Some natives get money from casinos, but that's because their tribe went out on a limb to secure loans or investors in order to create a business, which happened to be a casino. So it's doing all of these things. It's removing these stereotypes. And ultimately, what I'm really hoping that the viewer sees, Native and non-Native, is the resilience of the Native Americans that are alive today, and also the generosity, because Native Americans traded with people from all over the world for thousands of years. I mean, we go back 23,000 years documented historically. We were bartering and trading with people from all over the world peacefully in a very generous environment. And so the idea that Native Americans don't like outsiders is not true. We are a unity. We are a community. Most of us are mixed bred anyway. And so it's like trying to bring people together. I'm hoping that This is Indian Country helps us not to have this division between people, because I feel like what you said earlier is we are at a very critical time on this planet that we can't afford anymore to have division of people, of race. We need to come together and create a unity, because the most important resource we have is our Mother Earth. And if we don't start figuring out how we're going to come together and take care of it, we will all not be here in the next, who knows, 500 years or less.
You're right. And, you put that in perspective, because, again, when I talk about our youth and generations to come, they need to understand these stories. And you're talking about genocides, and you're talking about used to be the largest tribe, I'm talking about the multiple tribes. And now it's down to being the smallest. And through education, understanding, coming from leaders like you and other tribal members, older, telling their story, educating the youth and young adults, that if we don't continue to understand what our forefathers sacrificed and gave us, won't exist anymore. We got about 1 minute. Can you respond to that?
I think you're absolutely right. And I think knowing the history of the United States is it's a very sensitive subject, because when you really want to tell the true history of this land, most Americans, no matter what color you are, we've been raised to be so proud of this land. You served this country. A lot of the Native Americans have served. But the truth is that the story of how this country was created was on free labor and free land. And that's a very hard thing to swallow when we're pledging our allegiance to the flag of what we've been told is a great nation, which it is. But the true story of how it became great is not accurate.
Hold that thought.
Reconcile.
Hold that thought. We got to take a station break, but I don't want to, but we got to pay the bills. So I tell you, hey Todd, I hope you're listening, because I'm gonna need your comments when we come back. But if you're watching, with your platform you're watching us on or listening to us on, all you do is just go to the comments and send a question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. Yes, your life. And we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z, and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection.
I've seen a smile convey I love you. I'm proud of who you are, and one that keeps us close when we're apart. Talking from the darkness of all that we've been through, it seems that there might be a way to leave behind the loneliness we've known and live again life of
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and my absolutely amazing guest, Ruth-Ann Thorn, is all of this education that we're getting out of this. And not just that, but just learning the history of a lot of things that happened in the past and that are still happening. And just like what Nico Johnson said, Native history is the real American history. I think you are absolutely right with that. And I'm curious to get my producer in studio. Todd, what are your thoughts on the show so far?
Well, it's a great show, and I can't believe all the things that Ruth-Ann does. She's must be the busiest woman in show business out there. But I think it's so important, especially with a population that's diminishing, to have the stories out there of the Native Americans and that she tells in this Indian country. And I actually have a friend, shout out to Kilma Latin. He created an app for a Native American stick game because he was worried that the kids weren't going to learn the stick game. So he created an app just so that the game, continues to be passed down from generation to generation. So just like Ruth-Ann shares these stories, it's so important that we have documentation of this and stories keep getting told.
Absolutely. And just like what Todd just said, Ruth-Ann, we're gonna veer off into your product line in a minute, but I'm still in awe the education that we're getting and just the clear understanding. And just like what Nico just said, the real American history is Native American history because that's where everything started from. So we also got, I think, Zoe Life. Love this show. It is a wonderful show. So I want to pick it back up with and want to finish up with your gallery. Hey, Todd, have you ever went and checked her galleries out?
No, I haven't, but now it's on my list of things to do for sure.
It's not too far from our studios. So it's in the gas lamp district. So I want to pick it back up with the galleries and want to keep it kind of short because we only got about 10 minutes left and 8 minutes left in the show. When you the arts that you collect, how you go about identifying what's a fit and what's not?
Well, art is so subjective. And, one of the main tenets that I built the gallery on is that art is for everyone. Because I think art is one of those things a lot of people can feel really intimidated, especially if they go into a gallery and they've never bought art before. It could be a little scary. And I think with the gallery, I bring in so many different styles. I have everything from the art of Dr. Seuss to Jeremy Salazar's beautiful Native American paintings. If you come into the gallery, you're going to be really overwhelmed by how many incredible different styles of art there are. But then the thing that they all have in common is that they are really the Olympiads of the art world as living artists. So these are artists that are shown not only in my gallery, but in many galleries all over the world sometimes. And they've really made an impact in their style of what they're creating. So that's really the way I choose art. Is I want to find artists who have been really making an impact in the world, and most of them are quite famous. But as far as people liking art, I always tell people, look, you've got 2 ears and nobody needs to tell you what type of music you like to listen to. You can listen to it and make that decision. And, you have a mouth, you can go to a restaurant, decide you like this food, you don't like that. Art is the same thing. You have 2 eyes. You should look at art based on how it makes you feel and what reaction you get from it. And really don't let anybody, including myself, tell you any differently, because art really should be something that is enjoyed by everyone. There is no right and wrong answer to it. Now, with that said, if you want to invest in art, that's a whole different conversation, because there are artists that are better investments because art is a commodity based on supply and demand. And sometimes I have people who want both. They're like, Ruth-Ann, I really love something I enjoy, but I'd also like to see something that I can put my money in and will go up in value. I want to create a legacy for my children, my grandchildren. So we can do both of that. And that's where, as an art dealer, my education, the education of my staff really comes into play, because we know how to direct people based on what it is that they're looking for.
Wow. That's wow. That's incredible. I want to switch and talk about your beauty products, and I know that you just won an award. So can you tell we got about 3.5 minutes. Can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about that?
So N8iV Beauty, I don't have the product, but you can see, here's my t-shirt. Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
A lot of people are like, how do you say that? And so it's N8iV. And so it's just kind of a modern way of spelling native, but also the 8 is symbolic of our 8-season calendar that we follow as hunter-gatherers. So our tribe, and many of the native tribes, pretty much all of them, there weren't really not gardeners, there weren't really farmers, because we lived with the land, and then we would follow where the plants were growing, where the animals were. We do our hunting. And so our particular tribe has an 8-season calendar. Some have 6. So that's N8iV Beauty. It's an organic, all natural, and our main ingredient is acorn oil, which is something that, again, we've used for, time immemorial, for the healing of the skin. We also eat the food from the acorn. So it's a very traditional native medicine that I'm bringing to market, and it's exciting. But, really the idea is it's a great skincare product. It is for all people. So it's unisex, because it's natural, organic. Everybody can use it. I haven't had anybody who's had any problems with allergies. People with eczema, they love it. It's very healing. But the other thing is that we are the very first beauty product to come into the mainstream beauty space ever. And that is another thing that's really important to me, especially as a Native woman, is this movement that we call land back. And land back can be the physical land, if a tribe needs the land back to become federally recognized. But land back is also taking back space that we have been pushed out of. And I think as people of color, we have been pushed out for many, many years of a lot of industries, a lot of spaces, and a lot of physical spaces we weren't even allowed into. Just to go back to where my gallery is located in the gas lamp, when the gas lamp was built in the mid-1800s, there was signage on the posts there where the gas lamps are that said Indians wanted $25 dead or alive. So we weren't even allowed to step foot into the gas lamp. So opening up the gallery there, that's a land back. N8iV Beauty is a land back. We are taking space on the shelves very soon in Nordstrom's. Thank you, Nordstrom's. And hopefully very soon in Sephora and Ulta and all of the luxury places, so that Native people can say, we are on the beauty shelves. We are part of that.
Wow. Ruth-Ann, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Got to have you back again if your schedule permits. You already know that. So I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show today. Again, you got an open invitation. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. I'd like to thank Todd, my main man at KCBQ AM 1170 Answer FM 96.1, for always being there and making sure that we do great shows. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show. It's your life, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And also on Sundays, when we're in prime time, KCBQ AM 1170. And always dream big, think big, and be big. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Yes.
Thanks for joining us for the James Cooley Show. It's your life. To learn more about Dr. James Cooley and how you can support the show or become a guest, visit CooleyFoundation.org. Join James for more motivation and inspiration to help you become equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. This has been It's Your Life with Dr. James Cooley, where you learn how to dream big, think big, and be big in everything you do.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James